Welcome to Blink 155. Did we just record an intro and scrap it? Maybe.
It's possible.
Could we pretend that it was because of the lag and not because we said a bunch of things because we're mad about our lives right now?
Yeah, you and I just both vented our spleens sort of immediately in the first 5 minutes of the pod, and I don't worry that much about talking shit in hour two, because at that point, and I've said this before, I think we're down to the dregs of the nation, I
mean, that's a pretty, especially for someone as optimistic as you, that's quite pessimistic to say that. I would like to think that every person listens to each waking second of the pod and
right.
really just hammers it home.
To be honest, we have seen, once Apple rolled out, slightly more detailed analytics, this went from, the most offside intro to the most boring possible intro, talking about analytics. But when we finally got some information, because podcasts are, the most, old school technology imaginable, but there's, a little bit more that we're getting kind of every couple of months. And we saw that people were listening to, on YouTube, I would get 50%, completion rates or whatever. And we're getting high 90% completion rates on episodes, which hurts me to think about. So
the people who listen to this podcast are very broken, I think, is what we've learned.
And evidently so are you and I, to the point where we really tried to sabotage our lives with the original introduction to this podcast.
The thing is that I usually just sort of follow you because you are so much more successful than me. I know how to sort of suck up to people in life so much better than me. So I assume if Sam's bringing it to this level, then that must be fair play.
Right.
So I follow your lead because I see talking to you is reading The Art of the Deal or something for me. I'm just trying to learn about how to become a success.
I hate this intro more than I hated the last one. It turns out.
Well, what if is there a way to make it so that every second upload on Libsyn is one of the two intros, and then we can just hope that the people we may or may not have offended
just get the wrong one?
Yeah.
Well, it's like back in the day, when Clue was released in theaters, right? And there's 4 different endings to Clue, and different theaters got different endings. So I do think in this way we encourage people to download the podcast multiple times on multiple devices, which is not good for us in any way because we don't have advertisers. But it'll make us feel better when we talk about the podcast to our fans.
I'm a little curious. Do people want us to talk about the minutia of our analytics more often or less often? Yeah. I'd like to know because.
Please weigh in. Would you rather hear sort of vague allusions to our professional frustrations that are sort of never fully voiced, so that you don't know what we're talking about and you're kind of it's like you're eavesdropping on a boring conversation, or would you rather be directly addressed by a boring conversation about something else?
Because I recently did some press for the pod, actually. Finally.
Yeah, we've been acknowledged. We got retweeted by a local Toronto media blog, which is sort of feels like the first time that Toronto media has acknowledged anything that I did, and I was very excited about it. Even though I think their Twitter account has fewer followers than we have.
The wall beside Sam's desk just has this scary Joker-esque pencil writing on it, as if he's all the things he's keeping track of.
Yeah, it's straight up the Buscemi people to kill list.
And maybe my reference to the Joker is some sort of flash forward of something that gets mentioned later in the episode.
Maybe this intro is better now. It has all these sort of literary foreshadowing. We're really taking ourselves quite seriously here.
But the thing is, so I did an interview, and then they're like, wow, so what are your downloads like? And honestly, I love telling people what I know about the analytics, but in that scenario, I thought it would be even more important to say. It sound more important if I'm oh, it's impossible to say. I mean, it's such a new medium, and the tracking is really, so I did some spiel like that, and I felt so good. So I'm just trying to decide, is it better to boast about the analytics, or is it better to play it close to the chest and just say these mysterious things, some sort of data pickup artist?
Right. Well, maybe people can weigh in on what's leaving them more horned up at the end of this introduction.
What if we just
data
give
no data?
What if we just give somebody the Libsyn password? Like, that could be another Patreon tier. Like, you can just also have the password, and we won't know who you are or what you're doing, but you can just like change things.
Change the episode descriptions. Just delete the entire podcast.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Upload your own shit and release it as us. You know, whatever you want. There's no rules.
That is exciting and risky. You know what I'm realizing, though, is like, you do this interview promoting the pod, which I think happened before the kind of like incel Jezebel incident. But really, like that became kind of like outside of the Cone Sum 41 Ben Cook incident, which got written about, in Vice and then aggregated by Exclaim. That was sort of felt like the first time that we were getting like a lot of like, blue check mark media, people from the States, like, quote tweeting the pod and really engaging with it. And so are we in a position to benefit from like the increased, potential kind of problematic positioning of Blink-182 in the culture? Like that everyone loves Blink and we're experiencing this great moment of nostalgia. But like if members of Blink, continue to sort of push the boundaries of maybe what's like kind of okay and do things like release incel anthem music videos, like, do we stand to benefit from that? Is that good for us? Because I'd always wondered, we'd said, like, what happens if some horrible revelation comes out about Blink and we're in the middle of this podcast, right? But now I'm thinking that's actually good for us, and I hope it happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm ready for it. Or like a death. I mean, bring it on.
Wow. I dare not even dream of a death.
This intro's worse. This intro's much worse.
Yeah.
We should have left the file alone. So the only other thing is that now there might be callbacks to the old intro throughout, and I'm going to try to catch them all, but there might be some weird little callbacks that are going to sound even more insane. I was going to try to do a pun like Al 1 and split up the word alone like that, but then I just thought that it would have crashed and burned so badly that I shouldn't say it out loud, so I decided not to say the pun out loud.
You just bailed and sort of just blurted out the word. So you and I have transitioned formats. Now we're on a call, which, like you said, is very DIY sounding. Like I'm used to your voice coming in crystal clear, and instead you're like so far away.
No, it sounds a lot like your buddy Lou Barlow that you booked on the pod last week.
My personal friend. And before we get into talking about the song Al 1 here, I just want to say to all the no context accounts, let's please not get me in too much trouble with my employers by taking some of the jokes that have been made so far in this episode and using them out of context, because sorry, if anyone just got a quiet "you're fucked" from Ashley in the background there. So
yeah, I mean, are they jokes though? Because I seem to recall, like episode 0, we said we were going to be very sincere and not ironic on here. So I'm starting to question if anything really counts as a joke that's said on here.
That's interesting. That's I think I like the idea that only if you've listened to the very first episode of the pod, like, can you comprehend the fact that like none of this is intended humorously, that there is no irony on this podcast. Anything that you think is like literally just us being so radically transparent that we must be joking.
Maybe that's what irony is, though, is just like being so honest with yourself that you are actually telling the truth but don't realize it, because it's like post consciousness. You're just like deep within the depths of yourself.
Wow, that's interesting. This is definitely the time to unpack that.
Today I really wanted to tweet that if you are against the Amazon fire, then you're no better than the fire itself. Like, sort of like,
that's a good tweet.
I know, but I got scared for some reason. I feel like people are so fucking fired up, no pun intended, about that one.
No, I think that's a great way to make a point. To be honest, I think that's quite effective satire, Joseph. I don't know if that's like irony. I feel like that's satire, right?
I don't fucking know.
Do you know what it means
Alone.
to be facetious? Sorry.
I think I just always am, but that's kind of the thing is like I don't really know when I'm joking and when I'm not, and whenever a tweet has gone viral, I don't even think it's funny usually.
Right, it's all your like
So it's
normie tweets, and you get mad at everyone who shares it.
Yeah, I hate those people.
But like, has anyone ever been effectively able to explain to you the difference between being sarcastic and being facetious, like in a way that wasn't just like it's subtle? This is an example of something that's facetious, and you're like, what? That's sarcasm, or it's irony.
What if it was facetious, like poo?
Yeah, that's good. So alone.
Okay, facetious means treating serious issues with deliberately inappropriate humor, which is very much my vibe at all times.
You're a Fifi boy.
So that's actually totally different than sarcasm.
Yeah, but I guess you can.
I think the difference is like sarcasm is more Gen X and being facetious is more cool.
Okay, yeah, I think that's an important. If you're being cool and you're like under 50, you are being facetious.
Yeah, you can't really be sarcastic unless you are a very specific Gen X person that we can both think of right now.
I'm going to type it in the chat. That's for that tier.
Yeah, the song Al One.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely not the best song called Alone. I will say that right off the top.
What do you think is the best one?
Heart, absolutely. Do you have a favorite Alone?
Let's see. I'm just checking. Oh, there's a Halsey song. Definitely not that.
Do you like Halsey?
No, she sounds like a low kilobytes per second MP3 rip. Like her voice just sounds like a bad Winamp file.
Do you like? I like kind of recently got like very nostalgic for Winamp skins. Like I was reading about some fucking nu metal band that like unnecessarily detailed sort of like album by album pages that clearly are sort of delicately and lovingly curated by fans that have not grown out of a very sort of specific phase in their life, and it was like included in the like super deluxe like Carbonite edition of this album was like all of this various paraphernalia and like also an enhanced CD with games and a Winamp skin. And then I tried desperately to find it. I couldn't find this particular Winamp skin, but I just ended up like for like I want to say 10 to 15 minutes just looking at various Winamp skins, which isn't like
it's so cool.
It's so sick.
Yeah, especially the nu metal type ones that were like so techy that just made it look like someone had soldered metal on your computer screen.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot of... Oh, you've got your noties on.
Well, I just realized that because we're on the phone now, it's fine.
There's lots of great Blink-182 Winamp skins. Wow.
These are so... Like, I don't know. This is when MP3s were fun, man. Like, when have you had fun listening to music since then? Like, I haven't.
No, it's so frustrating. Like, I honestly, and people can make fun of me if they want, but it would be the first time someone's made fun of me for something I've said on here because I'm so wise and intelligent. But I actually don't even really understand how to use iTunes anymore.
Yeah, I mean...
That's an interesting sound.
That's the microwave.
Okay, I thought there was no. That's good because Ashley in the kitchen was that account was running on fumes.
Right? Yeah. Thankfully, there's giving out content to everyone in the nation today.
But yeah, when I download an album, I don't even know how to use iTunes. I put it in there and it's like fucking gone. So now I just open albums in VLC player because at least I know where the files are. Like I miss Winamp so much.
And VLC player does not have the same, exciting customization that Winamp had. Like imagine if VLC was like fuck it and just turned themselves into Winamp and you could listen to music with like the most like 90s ass looking skin. Like there's got to be 100 Blink-182 Winamp skins.
Yeah, and one of them has like proto deviant art drawing of Blink-182 on it.
It's so sick.
So sick.
This is a Winamp skin that's just like designed to kind of look like ICQ. Like that. Like what a perfect crystallization of an era. Like I want to be able to chat to my friends in ICQ, and then when I listen to, it looks like they're just listening to in this example winampskins.com MP3. So.
Oh man, so good. But enough about Winamp. Let's talk about Al One by Blink-182.
So, do you like this song? Where do you land on this song?
It's interesting. It's definitely like even more than Reebok commercial, a very My First Punk song sounding song.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting listening to it because, like, obviously this is the sort of song that, like, in any other circumstance, there's no way you'd ever think twice about this. This song would have been on a demo and disappeared, and like this doesn't even have that like same like, oh sick, this is like your favorite local band when you're in high school like energy that we sort of like slobber over sometimes. Like it's just sort of like shitty, but really interesting because, like, sometimes with these songs, you're like, oh, you can see the germ of the thing that they would become. And it's like, you don't have any sense of that here. Like, it feels like such an outlier. Everything, the riff, like, it literally feels like a band, like, learning how to put together a song before you can then figure out, like, who you are as a band. Like, this is the sort of song you would only ever listen to if you were doing a project as dumb as this.
Exactly. Yeah, like, it reminds me just of, like, bad hardcore. Even just like to me, this is more like what I think of when I imagine 7 Seconds or H2O or bands like that I know they were like touring with, or even like Pennywise or something. Just like the weird bad cross between skate culture and hardcore that like none of it is cool and maybe never was.
Yeah.
it's like it makes me think of those like weird like almost fleece feeling cargo shorts from back then, but they're still it's just are cargo pants, like navy blue cargo pants. That's what this makes me think of.
Fleece cargo pants. Like I feel like you're like
there's this kid that was in the hand named Steve who wore these like cargo pants that were blue, but like they had this like weird softness to them that were like almost fleecy, and it just makes me think of like the bands that he liked that I was like, this is terrible. Like,
are you talking about mod
some,
robes right now? I feel like you're describing mod robes.
Maybe I don't think so because they weren't so like over the top. But either way, it's like makes me think of a specific kind of cargo pants, a specific kind of like bad hardcore that would tour with pop punk back then, and just like yeah, it just makes me think of it's weird because now every genre is blurred, but this sounds blurred in an out of place way where you're like, oh, Blink-182 is trying to write a bad hardcore song and it's really terrible.
It's so bad. Yo, mod robes looked so sick. Just literally, like, while you're talking, just clicking through the Google image results for mod robes. Just being like, they were recycled, too. It's interesting because you were like, maybe it was never cool. And I think one of the things that I'm sure we've said on the pod and that I've always thought was interesting is, like, there are sort of some, like, trend-resistant cultural touchstones that have just always been cool and will always be cool, and skateboarding has kind of just like always been one of them. By the way, I heard you landed so many ollies at your garage sale.
I did, yeah. It was kind of like a bust in terms of people coming and buying things, but my brother-in-law, friend of the pod, Daryl, the inventor of Down, 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 or Not Down, Down, Down from way back when.
Yeah, from like 30 fucking years ago.
I had always been trying to land ollies my whole life, and then I gave up, and then he just taught me to sort of like pivot my front foot a little bit so that it lined up a certain way, and then it was just the magic was happening. It was incredible, and I didn't even fall and fuck up my move. So I mean, all in all, it was incredible. I'm finally a 13-year-old. I think I'm going to get sponsored.
I'm so happy for you, but I'm also like, when you told me that no one had come to your garage sale, like, was not shocked. I assume there's a fairly substantial portion of people who listen to this and maybe also follow you on Instagram, but like, you and Sarah were both posting kind of in the lead up to this garage sale, like, you know, you guys had a great poster for it, and it was like, we're going to have like collectibles and cool clothes, like vintage clothes and all this shit, and, you know, clearly like the detritus of your life. Did we figure out how to pronounce that once? Detritus of your life. And so, and then you were posting all these photos, and it was like, you know, big fucking ET thing, and all your sick clothes and various things. And I was like, I don't know that Calgary is like, this is awful because this is like a really. It's not really a compliment because Calgary does suck, but like, I don't think Calgary
please don't insult YYC, please.
Right.
It's very important to me.
But like, I think that you guys are unfortunately like much cooler than the place that you live. Like, you are out of place there. Like, obviously you have friends that are, I guess, cool also. But the fact that like people in Calgary were not rushing to your sort of like collectible weirdo hype beast garage sale is not shocking to me. When you were like, no one came, but I learned to ollie, and I was like, duh, this is why you're moving to Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our garage sale was popping on the socials, but in terms of real life, not really.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, but I don't know where we are right now or what's
This song
going on,
makes me think that skateboarding is bad. Like just like as the riff started, I was like, oh, maybe like I'm all wrong about everything, and like music sucks.
This song is like
sucks.
this song is like the other side of older brother music. Like we always romanticize it, like, oh, my friend's older brother showed me all these music videos, and I learned about like, I don't know, something cool. I can't even think of something cool right now because we're talking about this song. But this is like the other side where it's like
Dinosaur Jr. Perhaps.
Actually. Yeah, exactly. But this is the other side where it's like, oh, actually, your older brother just like hung out at a skate shop till he was 47 and was somehow divorced 4 times in that time. It's like
it also
this is like the older brother becoming Bart Simpson being a male stripper in that Flash Forward episode. Like you're like, oh shit.
Like, oh, this was where
real.
It's all headed. Yeah, it just sort of reminds me of like anytime. Like I'm, trying to work on stuff, and then you're like, okay, well, I got like one good idea down, or maybe 2 or something, and then you're like, I'm like, I've had a couple of drinks or whatever. Like, I'm going to try to write something like kind of heavy and cool, and then this is like, and after 2 hours, you like listen back to it, and it sounds like this, and you're like, oh no, like I just, like you sort of head right for the gutter,
It's kind of funny, though, when you put it that way, because it makes me realize that the blueprint of 6'8" and Los Angeles goes all the way back to Fly Swatter.
It does,
of
right?
them trying to be heavy.
It's like this, like, tragic, like, just like, kind of close, and then just like, no, okay, pull back, accept what you're good at, but then, like, occasionally sort of forgetting that, you're forgetting that this is not maybe your strength,
Yeah, it's totally, and also like I can picture the shape of this riff, and it's totally like so close to Metallica 1, or I don't know. Everyone always writes a riff that's like the 2-finger power chord, but then you add your pinky to the top to like make it sound edgy, or like kind of like a Aussie riff or something too. It's just like so teen. Maybe I love this song.
I feel like
actually.
you are like everything you're saying. I'm like, dude, you are 100% selling yourself on this.
Yeah, but okay, so this song and there's another one called Red Skies. These are the 2 songs that were on Fly Swatter that they were like, we're not going to re-record this. We're done with those ones. So this one definitely like only exists on this demo tape that has a slur on the cover, on the spine. Again, I just want to say, whenever we talk about Fly Swatter, which has been a lot lately, and I feel like Fly Swatter is the new Cali Deluxe and that we cannot escape it.
Yeah, like, are there 100 songs on this fucking thing?
I don't know. But whenever we talk about it, I see the A on the cover, and, like, truly, the alphabet theory is real. Come on. Like, just everyone needs to admit it. Like, it's crazy. It's so real.
I mean, this is, like, one of those things where you open your mind up to this. Like, I'm not saying it's not real, but it's just like you're going to start thinking that the A is real and the whole alphabet thing is real, and then before long you're going to be an anti-vaxxer. Like, this is just like your third eye is open and you cannot close that shit.
All I'm saying is look up fluoride, okay? Like, there's speaking of Calgary, there's no fluoride in the water here because of that reason. Like,
what?
They successfully got rid of it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to my teeth getting better when I leave.
Damn, you're going to be able to, like, eat so many more spicy things without pain. I don't know, whatever fluoride does.
Yeah. Okay, come on. There's this YouTube video from Retro Blink Vibes. God, what an embarrassing username that is. It's the alphabet theory, hoax or true. Just skip through a little bit. A, very clear. B, Buddha, obviously. C, Cheshire Cat. Okay, obvious. Dude Ranch. Like, the first 5 releases are alphabetical.
Yeah.
And then like, they on Mark, Tom, and Travis show, they put the F on the drums for famous. Like, it's all anecdotal until there. But then why would they put a G on the cover of Toy Patch?
Yeah.
Just like, I know we've talked about this before, but why? Everyone tell me why. Because then, yeah, sure, it falls apart for a bit. But then, fitting with the alphabetical order, there's a J on the cover of fucking Neighborhoods.
Okay, but I think we got to acknowledge the fact that the self-entitled... the way that they try to sort of prove that there's an H in it is connect the colors in the background, resulting in a lowercase h. Like, this is
so you don't see the H? Oh, you don't. So you don't believe in, like, expressive art?
Can you see the H? Can you see an H right now?
I mean, I'm squinting, but yeah. Probably because I want to, because my third eye is open.
Right, yeah. And then, but no, don't get me wrong. Like, definitely the Neighborhoods one is also weird. The way that Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is weird.
Yeah, like, why would they do that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And then dogs eating dogs is weird. I have no problem believing the G is weird. The G is fucking weird.
Yeah, like, why would there be a G? Come on. I know that some people in the nation are against the alphabet theory, but it's, first of all, that's way better than them naming their new album 9.
Is that they should,
which we still have to do. So that's one thing we're going to do once you're done hobnobbing with the stars, is we're going to do like an album predictions exclusive. So keep an eye out for that on patreon.com/Blink155.
When does the album come out?
Who knows? Who cares? Who could
be bothered?
Who can say?
Yeah.
We do have to do it before it leaks, though, because I'm going to be on those leaks.
Are you still on like oink.cd or whatever,
No, I can't keep my ratios up on there. It's no good. Okay, let's talk about the lyrics quickly for Alone, because I think they're some more adorable teen punk lyrics.
Yeah, they are troubled.
What we're doing here, now no one knows. The thoughts, the things that I don't know. This is, again, I always think of that Kyle Mooney nu metal band sketch. It's it's so good. Image is all but a mind blur. Your laughter has drove you here. Is this like the Joker, actually, maybe?
Oh, wow. We saw the Joker trailer like in a theater, and I don't have like, really strong pro or anti comic book movie takes. Like
Well,
right. Like, okay. Yeah, fine. But like something about like being in a theater and like seeing like that severe ass trailer, like, marketed like a normal real movie was like maybe the first time I was like, comic book movies are dumb. Like that was really like seeing that in a movie theater and not just like on my phone was a bit of a tipping point for me in terms of like developing some like sort of subtly snobbish opinions.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're becoming a snob about comic book movies with the one movie that's made just for snobs?
But that's the point. Like that's like what I love about Aquaman, like the greatest film of all time, is that like it's so fucking dumb and it knows how dumb it is, and to me that's like the point. It's like embrace that.
Right.
And the idea of this, like, from the guy who made The Hangover and the G.G. Allen doc, which is obviously sick, comes like, ooh, he's sad and troubled, but also laughs. Like, it feels like a student film from someone who, like, went out and got, like, damage tattooed on their head after the photo of Jared Leto leaked.
Yeah, maybe. That's interesting.
Are you excited about the Joker? Are you like?
I kind of think it. I think it looks pretty good. I like to see things that are edgy, but I get what you're saying. It's like they've finally run out of ideas that they're like trying to make an art movie.
Yeah,
which is pretty funny.
Like just like don't like leave art movies to art movies and like only make Aquaman. Which
well, I think you would love Justice League if you haven't seen it yet. I don't know if you have or not.
It's been on my watch list on Letterboxd. But I have not got to it yet.
That would be so great to just have like a Joss Whedon-ass Letterboxd to watch list. like in conversation, be like, oh, let me add that to my list.
Ooh, Spider-Man Far From Home. That's exciting.
Yeah. No, how do you spell that? Where's the colon in that?
So these lyrics, though, like you calling this like a Kyle Mooney nu metal parody is like so fucking perfect and evocative. Like I can see, like, first of all, I want that, and maybe you can like pitch. We've got a couple of weeks till the SNL premiere. Is he still in the cast?
Yeah, he is. Leslie Jones just quit though today.
Really?
So yeah.
Do you have like here's a question as like an SNL completist to your detriment? Did you like when you saw the list of who was hosting for the first couple of weeks and the dates? Do you put that in your calendar? Like, do you have like this date SNL premiere? Got to make sure me and Sarah are no.
I don't keep a calendar. I just keep my 30 Untitled _7 text documents open, and then I have my 45,000 unread emails, and I just hope that someone's gonna someone will push me to do something when I'm supposed to do it.
This is like how you sort of handle all of the pod merch, which again, thank you for being the one who does that. But this weekend, friend of the pod, Daniel Halliburton, brought over my shirts from the Defend Pod Punk batch, which are so fucking sick, by the way. Like actually seeing them in the flesh. But Daniel was also like, yeah, they were just sort of like in a bag and then like wrapped up with an elastic band. Like there was no like, there was nothing keeping them from literally falling out of the bag in the mail.
That was only yours. That was only yours because we very last minute did that. I can proudly say not a single package has been lost from my entire merch.
But don't you feel like that's kind of against all odds, you know?
I don't know. I think at this point in my life, I've made it to be this old, to be 34, same age as you, and I've never learned how to use a calendar app or anything, and I'm still alive. I mean, I've missed many appointments and burned many bridges, and I've had to tell numerous big interview subjects for work that I still haven't quite figured out the time zone thing because I'm constantly ghosting on everyone. But God damn it, I'm still alive.
Who's the most prominent person that you've fucked up and like not called when you were supposed to?
I mean, most recently it was Sam Dunn. I was like, I just kept missing the call.
I mean, look, respect to Sam Dunn, who I love dearly. But like, you know, Sam Dunn's not like, have you ever really fucked up with someone like super famous?
I'm sure I have. I just can't even think of it right now. But I mean, I always fuck up everything. It's like I'm just a walking disaster. I don't know.
I can't wait till you like fully adopt like a great laissez-faire Montreal attitude. You're at the Tam Tams every Sunday, and like it becomes somehow even worse.
Yeah, I should do a live pod from the drum circle. That'd be good.
Should. I one time fucked up and didn't call Kurt from Converge, which was like awful because I obviously love Converge, and
you really blew it.
Ooh, damn, that's great. Do you think he would like this song? I don't know that he would approve.
Oh, this actually totally does remind me of like when Forever Comes Crashing era Converge.
This is like basically like bad, you know, Jake Bannon lyrics.
Yeah, because I was thinking, does this remind me of Bane? But it reminds me of when the guitarist Aaron Dalbeck was still in Converge, and then they got too good and had to kick him out because he sucked at guitar. It's totally like early Conversion. Maybe that's why I like it too. Like I love some of those weird ass Petitioning the Empty Sky songs too.
Oh yeah, I straight up like love Converge so much. They're one of my favorite bands, and I never listen to those records. Like those two records like really just don't exist for me.
Oh, Petitioning the Empty Sky is particularly very good. But we got to talk about the chorus because it's like perfect punk lyrics. You can do what you want to. I need some time alone. Between what answers there is, I need some time alone. Don't talk to me. Don't notice me. Don't talk to me. Don't notice me. In fact, it's very free punk lyrics feeling to me.
Yeah. Maybe you do love this song, Josiah.
I think I really do love this song, actually, a lot.
And then
I think I just straight up do. Like, I just think it's really good.
And then verse 2, images all but a mind blur.
It's so good.
Okay, so this is the thing is like even though we said like there's sort of no hint, like really no, there's no Blink DNA in this except for images all but a mind blur is like extremely a Blink lyric where you're like why the fuck would you phrase it like that?
The desperation to rhyme, although he's just rhyming with here. Blur and here, but he had to put it in that order so that it would rhyme.
Like, yeah, rearranging a sentence so that it barely makes sense and doesn't even really rhyme is very Tom, and I appreciate that.
I just also love how this song is like just abstractly dejected. Like it's a disaffected youth anthem for someone who doesn't really understand what's going on in the world or understand what it even is like to have a real problem. But they're like in the suburbs like, I need to come up with like a punk song, so I'm just gonna be like, my mind is awash with your like leave me alone. Don't get away from me because you're just a joke with a laugh mind. Like it's just like free slam poetry through the mind of someone who doesn't really understand anything that's going on outside of their little cul-de-sac.
But now that like you've invoked the sort of haunted specter of the Joker, like this does all kind of feel like it's coming from the perspective of one of these like Tumblr guys who You know, like there was that another sort of dumb Joker tattoo post that was going around a little bit this week of like the guy who got all the scars and stuff and was like, I laughed when the tattoo finished, and like all of this very particular type of like Joker loving white guy. Like this feels like their song. Because again, you got the image is all but a mind blur. Your laughter has drove you here. Not in the mood, not just to justify, and not to think of what a lie. Like, can you just imagine like someone sort of prancing around? It's a little why so serious, you know?
I was gonna say though, while I agree, we're so old that when we were kids, what we would watch was just whatever VHSs we had, and I didn't have very many VHSs in my house, and so my big Batman movie is Batman Forever. That's sick. The one that I watched over and over and over and over again. And actually, I'm realizing now that culture has really equated the Joker with the Riddler now, but the verse 2 is very much Jim Carrey's The Riddler.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it is it's like an Alice in Wonderland type riddle. Like, this is like, what's that game called that your teacher would always read out at the end of class and you'd have to try to crack a riddle, like Mastermind or something? Is that a card game?
Oh, yeah.
Like, verse 2 seems like that. Like, okay, listen carefully. Image is all but a mind blur. Your laughter has drove you here. Not in the mood, not just to justify, and not to think of what a lie. And then you're like,
the answer is...
Oh, I know. He was reading a newspaper on a block of ice. And then the ice melted, and that's how it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, okay, well, that's it. Have a great summer, everyone. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is maybe a genius riddle. Now I want to crack the riddle.
Maybe some combination of the alphabet code and the riddle of... So this is the inception point of the band. This is where the alphabet codes start, and this is the inciting riddle for blank. So if this riddle combined with those things is eventually going to lead you to like some kind of buried treasure.
To the stars. And it's going to lead you to the stars, the secrets that right. Tom is still withholding. It's all connected, even more than he realizes.
Damn. Maybe it'll lead you out of the friend zone if it's like a Tom, you know. Tom riddle.
Man, I wish that we had time to do a proper full incel exclusive that the people are demanding, but it's a bad month for us to get into something that deserves that much attention. Yeah. And I also just want to say I still fucking love that song, even though it's an incel anthem.
I want to say that I was right from the beginning, as I always am, because I am just good and thoughtful that way.
I mean, if you want to know about who was right and who was wrong, we could also enter the G-Chat only zone and talk about that for a little while again.
Remember, that's patreon.com/blink155pod, maybe? Who fucking knows?
No, there's no pod, I don't think.
Classic.
I can't stop thinking about this line, image is all but a mind blur. It's pretty Pint and Pagement, too.
It really is. It combines a lot of great things. Yeah, Jim Carrey's The Joker. To be honest, I didn't watch that one that much, but that one has the like insanely sick soundtrack where the whole Jim Carrey turning into the Riddler or whatever, becoming the Riddler, all happens to Bad Days, and it's so fucking sick.
Oh man, I don't even remember that, but I think
it's like Drew
Barrymore's in it, right? Drew Barrymore, I think, plays Harley Quinn.
I honestly, I don't remember because I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I've watched that scene before because like I don't really especially care about the Flaming Lips, but that song is amazing. It has that crazy, like simple but fantastic drum fill that and that all happens while Jim Carrey's like being very crazy, and it's
oh yeah. Oh, it's so good, man.
So sick.
Wayne Coyne is also a Joel Schumacher era Batman villain, I think.
Yeah, totally. Guy crawling around the crowds that he commands with his spooky hamster ball and stuff.
His dumbass orb. And like giggling maniacally.
Yeah. That's someone should reimagine those films, but insert Wayne Coyne. They ended up on the wrong side of everything, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I do like also that the song plays with halftime and double time. You know, I don't know why I said I didn't like it at first because
you fucking love this song. You keep finding new things.
It's good. Yeah, like it is like pretty interesting how it starts halftime and goes double time. They do play a lot with like usually going halftime for the chorus and making it huge, but instead this time they start with their huge fucking massive metal riff and then go double time.
It's funny, like, I honestly by this point in the conversation can't even remember how this song started, although I do know that our call started with me singing it to you, so like somewhere it's in there. but when I try to go back,
don't talk to me, don't notice me.
This is good because in my head it was just becoming strings where I was like alone, like it was.
No, but I'm talking about the riff that's like, like it's like so fucking heavy. You have your lighter out and you're at Ozfest and they're playing this.
Oh, Blink at Ozfest was a classic memory that we share.
Very good. Well,
don't talk to me, don't notice me is like all like just repeating that, so great.
Okay, there's even more to unpack there because that's even a specific kind of like teen angst. It's not don't pay attention to me, it's don't notice me. I don't even want to be noticed. I just want to blend in. Don't notice that I'm wearing black nail polish to family lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't even notice. Between what answers, okay, like what does this mean? Okay, you can do what you want to. I need some time alone. Fair. Between what answers there is, I need some time alone.
I think that we need to get the nation, all of our dear listeners, to please, at the very least, verse 2, what does the riddle mean? I'm going to repeat it for you one more time because I feel like you're all too lazy to listen to the song.
Okay.
It goes, images all but a mind blur. Your laughter has drove you here. Not in the mood, not just to justify, and not to think of what a lie. So if you can tell me what that means, please. Maybe it seems like an old like Irish like thing that they would say. You know, what are those, like a blessing or something?
A blessing. I was going to be like a limerick. No, but yeah.
Yeah, no, like a toast. Yeah, no, you can't call it a limerick. That's a very sensitive topic on here, whether right. Something's a limerick or not.
Sorry, forgot. It's like an old Irish proverb, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Image is all but a mind blur. Your laughter has drove you here. Not in the mood, not to justify, and not to think of what a lie.
Here.
I think I just got a drama degree by reading that.
You have a BFA now. Congratulations.
Maybe I'll perform that at a Fringe Fest alongside your...
Definitely should. Come out. Hey, yeah, if anybody is in, I don't know if anybody listens in Halifax, but I'm going to be in Halifax on Friday to see my own damn musical, so...
Wait, that's this week?
Yeah, so, I'm flying out to Halifax. Like, Junior Battles is playing tomorrow, which is 2 days ago. We're playing with Iron Chic, so, like, real, like, super duper fest vibes. So I'll be stoked, and then I'll get my hangover on a plane Thursday morning and going out to Halifax to watch people sing and dance about sharks to songs that I wrote like fucking 13, 14 years ago, which is hilarious. So yeah, if you're in Halifax,
that musical, the musical that you wrote about Jaws is the one, because I was thinking, now that you're doing your big TIFF premiere, you're going to finally be on Getty Images with a funny watermark photo, but there is already one of you on there with your musical.
Yeah, that's right. You found that. And I am wearing huge shorts, like truly massive shorts. And to be honest, like as old photos of you go that, have been archived forever on Getty Images, especially ones that are expressly linked to your Fringe musical, I could have looked way, way stupider.
Well, I think the other people with you also look really dumb, so it's like making you look cooler.
Yeah, on the sort of like bell curve or whatever, I'm like benefiting a lot from.
I feel like everyone's holding like a "Whose line is it anyways" type of prop.
Yeah, they asked us all to bring the props from our shows, and so.
What a great photographer!
It was
fantastic work.
All of the like sort of fun, edgy pop culture shows at Fringe that year. So there was our Jaws musical. There was a sort of one-man show that combined the story, the sort of narrative of Swiss Family Robinson with Family Guy, and it was one guy.
Oh my God, I want to see that.
And it was one guy doing like all Family Guy impressions in the story of Swiss Family Guy Robinson. and he eventually got sued. We have not been sued. And then the other guy, I don't remember what he was holding, but it was like some other like kind of pop culture thing. But the Swiss Family Guy Robinson
Holy shit
thing has always stuck with me because he was like sort of like a prominent comedian, like prominent. I'm putting this in quotes, obviously, like kind of comedian and like serious guy, and like he's in ads and stuff all the time now. And I think like and he felt like our like we were all like these college kids doing like this dumb like pop punk musical, and he was always like such a dick to me, where I was like, we're kind of like. We're both like, the dumb hits of this festival. And he was like very dismissive and shitty. And then he got sued. And now he just is in like credit card ads. So,
well, there's a petition that I just found on ipetitions.com to Dear 20th Century Fox Legal Department. With this petition, the undersigned respectfully ask that you reverse your January 19th, 2007 decision to place a cease and desist order on Brian Froud and the Shahori brothers' critically acclaimed one-man show, Swiss Family Guy Robinson. I would die to see this.
And did they not? Was this like an unsuccessful petition? How many signatures does that have?
522 out of 1,000.
Wow,
so,
520. That's not bad.
Oh my God, Swiss Family Guy Robinson. Good Lord. What kind of company do you keep, Sam?
I listen. The point, that guy didn't like me. That guy thought I was too corny. So.
Wow.
Not a great sign.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, at least Jaws the musical is like not like that's just like he just was like, oh, the word family. I could just put guy in there.
Yeah.
Like you could do anything with that. Adam's Family Guy. That could be my one-man show if I wanted. Why not? Yeah. Adam's Family Guy Robinson is my thing.
It's too crazy. You should definitely, when you, like, part of your new Montreal lifestyle should be that you should become, like, a theater person. And you should definitely do a one-man show of Adam's Family Guy Robinson.
All right, let's get fucking back on topic. So there's obviously not very many covers. There's a couple that I'm just going to play because I need to do something to fill the time. I want to still make you late for wherever you're trying to be tonight. But this video actually seems really cool. Usually these evolution of Blink-182 type things or where someone does a medley, it's like really annoying and just like hurts my brain how dumb and shitty it is. But this one is pretty awesome. It's uploaded by Monique T. in 2018, May 2018, and she goes all the way from 92 to 2018 in 4.5 minutes. Like she intentionally included Fly Swatter along with everything else, and she like changes her tone to fit it. But it looks like this is actually all played live too. Like there's camera cuts, but I don't think she's punching in other guitar parts. Maybe.
Well, like
either way, it's
the cuts seem to be happening like not when the song changes and stuff. So.
Yeah, I think she's like straight up like rehearsed this 4.5 minute impressive medley. So I'm going to play you some of this for a little while. Here we go. Reebok commercial.
Oh, the classic.
Here's Our Baby Alone. Marlboro Man. Doing all these songs that we haven't even talked about yet, but
I know I was like looking at that the Genius page for Fly Swatter, and I was like, "Good God, it feels like Fly Swatter goes on forever."
Yeah, but then later on. Anyways, pretty cool video. Shout out to Monique. And also, yeah, we have a lot of songs left to do. Good Lord.
She's also got a Blink-182 tattoo. Like, she's got the, like, Nirvana thing on her arm and a lot of, like, questionable stickers on the guitar. It's definitely, like, feels very perfectly of an era.
She has the Travis I'm Pregnant sticker, and it looks like she has the enamel pin that we made of you, but a sticker version on her pickups under her strings.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I think that's just like a custom sticker of me.
Yeah, I'm going to shut you down, Monique. You're done.
Yeah, that's right. Josiah takes our merchandising very, very seriously. Look forward to a cease and desist.
Oh, to get back into Blink's metal dalliance, here's her doing the 6/8. She ends with 6/8.
Like, honestly, the 6/8, one of the 6/8 like metalcore covers is in the big like 1,000-year cover medley that goes along with the live show. And when we saw it in Montreal a couple of weeks ago, I was like, maybe I like 6/8. Like, there's something about it that sort of stuck with me.
I think you liked it on the episode too. I mean, I don't remember, but
yeah, who knows?
I feel like you might have.
Well, it turns out I have the same opinion still.
What is it about everyone who's in a band that's like clearly a pop band with guitars where they're still like, we should probably make a metal song though? Like, why? What is that temptation that is in all of myself included in all of us, or at least just wanting to make something heavy?
I really want to hear like the heavy ass prenup song, like just shredding, double kick drum.
There's some that come close, or some that I've written that I've had to tone down because I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I don't understand what that pull is. I guess everyone still wants to be a rock star, and you feel like a rock star when you're playing something that feels huge, even if it's not.
Yeah, I also think like it's maybe just the other side of the conversation we were having last week where, indie rock feels cool, pop punk or like, punk is sort of in this weird middle ground where kind of at best no one gives a shit, and at worst it comes across as like very, very corny. And then like metal, even though like obviously some people find metal to be corny, it's kind of like, metal is, very cool, in my humble opinion. And so it's like an attempt to sort of get some of the credibility that comes from making music that like feels ostensibly more alienating than otherwise just being in a pop punk band. And you want some of that credibility.
I just think back to like in my parents' basement borrowing one of my friend's 412 cabs so that I could just play with a full stack, and then like putting it to drop D and just like playing the corniest like house rattling drop D riffs. But I didn't like, if I were to listen to and I guess that's the problem maybe even with like all creative pursuits, is that like there's a difference between consuming it and creating it. And so whatever I was playing with that full stack, if I was to be listening to it, I'd probably hate it.
Right.
It felt so good.
It's
like, could you imagine how sick it would feel to play guitar in Nickelback, who are already great, but like even just to play some of their like gross like songs about butt fucking in a treehouse or whatever that are like all the album tracks, like those songs would be so fun to play live.
It would be super sick. I mean, maybe like you should just form like a real like a hard rock band, as the genre is unpopularly called sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's it. I guess it's just like the temptation is like it's like one for them, one for me, or whatever. And so they're eventually like, look, I need to write this fucking like shitty fake Zakk Wylde riff right now, no matter what.
Yeah, there's also something like kind of primal about like really loud, dumb rock music, right? I mean, that's like Nickelback's entire bread and butter. It's why they're so fucking popular, and it's why it's fun to play that stuff because you just like feel it, all through the lower extremities of your body.
Yeah, and that is kind of what we were talking about last. It's like this battle that everyone has inside of whether they want to be cool or just like openly enjoy whatever. Like it's let people enjoy things versus actually being cool. And I still think it's better to be cool probably at the end of the day.
I mean, it's tough. I guess, like maybe you could find someone else and just sort of compare notes like at the end of your life, on your deathbed, just like, was it worth it? Yes.
It's like St. Peter at the pearly gates, but it's instead for like a very hip nightclub, and they have to decide if you're cool enough for it.
Wow, yeah, it's like what's the German nightclub? You know that has like the crazy strict.
Oh yeah, Berghain.
Yeah,
that's exactly. That's what it's like when you're going through. St. Peter's looking at your posts and being like, ugh, no
not
way.
wearing enough black.
Yeah, you're way too performatively excited for that Hold Steady record.
Right, exactly. Oh, the new Hold Steady record is so good, by the way. It's fine.
Okay, I think these are all basically the same, but I'll just... I don't know what to do. Let's just fucking start. There's not that many of them. I've just written down... There's a few people who've done some guitar covers. Like, this song is basically as obscure as you can get with Blink-182, but fortunately, some people, like Mike Pasden, who has been, I think, on here before, because I recognize that Punkers Snickers guitar sticker
totally.
that he has. It's so good. But here's Mike Pasden playing it. And someone has even said, I prefer listening to this to the cover. I prefer listening to this cover so I can hear that awesome guitar riff better.
These are your people, man.
Yeah, and someone called him a poser. And then someone else said something about how he's seen NoFX 3 times, so how could he be a poser? And
Well, I mean, really can't argue with that.
I know we've had some teens on the pod before, but we need to get like some more like 1998 Smoke Pit teens on the pod to talk about like what's poser and what's not.
Smoke Pit teens.
If only we could go back in time with our Blue Yeti mics and just really capture the moment.
The pit was scary to me. I never hung out in the pit. Did you hang out in the pit?
Oh no, I didn't. Like I had friends who did, but I never went in there because I was like, I don't want to do that.
Was it called? Was yours like also just like? Why is it always called the pit at every school?
Because it's the pits, man. Don't smoke.
Wow, okay, that's good. It's subtle marketing.
I feel like no matter what guitar you're playing or what amp you're playing, this riff makes it sound like a PV practice amp every time. Although both guitarists so far have been playing Squires as well.
It's a good riff, actually. It really is.
It's because the magic of Tom DeLonge is that he's willing to like sign his name onto the riffs that everyone else scrapped because they were too basic and obvious. Like he's still willing to be like, yeah, that's my riff now, and you're like, but I also came up with that riff and thought it was too like simple. Like that's the beauty of Tom back then.
Yeah, now it's like in my head, dude.
All right, that was that kid, and then here's another kid who. This is Charged Covers, who's come up a lot before too. All these kids just have like the sickest guitars with stickers on them. This one has some sort of electrical warning, and it has those bullet hole stickers that you put on like shitty trucks beside your truck nuts. So this is Charged Covers doing guitar and bass. There's no way that this song, that this riff hasn't been used in like 50 other songs. I wish there was a way to like Google riffs.
I also like want to put stickers on my guitar now and learn this riff.
Yeah, you should play it at the show.
yeah, definitely. This is so yeah. If you're able to travel back in time and you live in Toronto, you want to see Junior Bells over Iron Sheik, it'll be our all alone riff show.
What else? Does this song sound like Guttermouth? I've never heard Guttermouth, but I imagine they sound like this.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this is very Guttermouth. I mean, like, I know the couple of songs that were on Punkoramas, and I always fucking hated them.
Yeah, this is like music for 1996 snowboarders that were canceled already back then before like being canceled was a thing.
Yeah, like, you know how hard you had to work to be canceled back then? But Guttermouth did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so did all the snowboarders with those weird eyebrow piercings that have like little spikes on either side.
So sick.
Like, and everyone was named Matt, who was that person.
Damn, a bass cover.
Yeah, some guy decided to do a bass cover of this. And so this is Sid Miguel, and he did this only 2 years ago. That's crazy. What are you thinking, Sid? Was it because of the pod? Sid, was it because of the pod? Answer me, Sid.
Sid, can you hear us?
It's just so funny because the recording is so shitty to begin with that then to cover it is like, I agree with that horn.
Yeah, and then also like keep in mind that I'm hearing this not even over Skype, but over like a really shitty cell phone.
Yeah.
It's all very true to life, to be honest, for me.
Exactly. You think that I'm in the room with Blink right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see some of these people, like maybe Sid or maybe someone else, being like, yeah, like not in a pretentious way, but in more of a kind of like hickory, like middle of nowhere guy type of way, to be like, yeah, Blink fucking sucks, but I really do love this one song called Alone.
Right, yeah. It's a pretty interesting riff, to be honest.
Yeah, like that song's fucking sick. The rest of it is gay. Is like what the guy would say.
That's some real canceled '90s snowboarder energy for sure.
Exactly. Although I do like that he made, for this video, Sid made his desktop background the A from the Fly Swatter cover on his monitor. So he's ahead. I don't think he has the best stickers on his base case though. I can't really read them, but I'm not seeing any no effects. So I think Sid, you might be a poser.
There's no way to know how many times you saw no effects, Sid.
Oh my god, that's what you just said made me think of like if Hard Times pivots to video, maybe I will start liking them, because I'll do a Jeff Foxworthy character who's like, you might be a poser if.
Oh, when you become like the face of the Hard Times, it's gonna be.
When we finally squash our beef.
I think that's a very one-sided beef, Josiah.
Yeah, and it's not even really a beef. It's more just like a subtle resentment about how mediocre it all is.
Some of those jokes are very funny, man.
Every time I make a joke, it's been vetted and worked on for decades.
Yeah, of course people checking out your feed have seen that, 0 misses is the Josiah Hughes Twitter promise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got 1 misses, and her name is Sarah.
Oh, wow. Man, you're doing well today.
Okay, well, you know what? That's it for cover. So what are your final thoughts, Sam?
My final thoughts are like this. The song is not something I will think about again, but now that riff is stuck in my head, and I want to listen to like the good version of that, and I'm going to try to figure out what that is for the rest of the night. What about you, Josiah?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like it because the rest of the Blink-182 songs are just a little too foofy for me, and this one is really this one's hard hitting. It's hard rock.
Totally, this is definitely more your energy.
This one rocks. Yeah, I just like this one because it rocks. Welcome to Blink-155, a fellow child of NW hardcore in not so specific terms. Ian from Regional Justice Center, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. What are you up to tonight?
I'm probably just going to be watching Mindhunter all night. I'm pretty close to the end, and I think I'm going to finish it tonight.
I've never watched it. I've heard it's good, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's very many jokes in it, which is what I'm usually looking for.
No, if you think like child murder is pretty funny, then I think you'd be into it. But no, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing, really.
That sucks. So the main reason I wanted to have you on is because I've always thought that, like, aside from the music or whatever, or maybe even more than the music, I've always loved a hardcore band that is like has sick merch, like where I'd want to go to the merch table first before anything else. But then you've made me realize that even better than merch can be a hardcore band that has sick tweets. And like your tweets are out of control from the Regional Justice Center account.
Yeah, thank you. They're just my actual thoughts. So it's, I guess I just used to keep them inside, and now I don't.
Specifically, and this is going to be real outdated by the time this comes out, but I have to bring it up. I'm so sorry. But like, you started an enormous fight across the world, it seemed, about photographers on stage.
Yeah, that shit's whack.
So, like, for those who don't know, maybe, I'm sorry, this is probably so punishing, but, like, just quickly walk us through. Basically, it seems like you were just chilling. And it's relatable to me because anytime we say anything on this podcast, someone starts a Twitter account about it. And, like, whether it's an inside joke or something bad or whatever. But you literally, like, started a huge fight, and somebody started a Regional Justice Center themed or anti-Regional Justice Center account.
There was an account started called Photographers Against Regional Justice Center.
So basically, and for our listeners who have not been to a quote unquote hardcore show for a few years, it's definitely like the people are fucking Amazon priming photo gear like crazy. Like everyone has a upstart
people
YouTube account.
Can't believe the Canon Rebel. It's like it's like high school all over again. It's crazy.
Like, I remember there was always this, like, each city would have one person taking photos, but I think it started with you posting a photo from This Is Hardcore or something, or somewhere. I don't know what fest it was.
I had posted a photo from Sound and Fury during Have Heart. There's a photo, which, like, I went to Sound and Fury. I watched 3 bands. I watched Candy, Despise You, and Fiddlehead, and then I went home. Which, like, no, just the fest. The fest is awesome. That was just, had been traveling right beforehand. I took my own funny photo where I had like 5 photographers stacked on each other on one side of the stage, and that was funny, whatever. But then the next week there was this photo that came out that was literally 15 photographers on one side of the stage in the shot. So what you have to think about is not only is there 15 photographers on the stage in the shot, there's probably 10 behind the drum set and 15 on the other side.
Right. It's like the polyphonic spree, but with photographers.
And the crazy thing is none of the pictures are good.
Right. I mean, for those people, it's more about the, like, fake VHS logo animation that they have on their website.
Yeah, well, and it's just like, I refer to it as Instagram story hardcore, like, where it's just... Like literally just you want to show that you're on the stage.
Right.
Like it's like, oh, I know someone. Like it's just it's pointless. And like the thing is that musicians don't look cool from behind. Right. Like I don't understand like what the whole the purpose of the on stage photo is. It just looks like shit.
Well, how do you feel about like a back print on a shirt where it's like a high contrast crowd piling on the singer?
I mean, the crowd photo is, yeah, that's a classic, but it's just people act as though that's the only thing, and so they're just taking up all this. So then it turns into this inverse thing where everything that's facing the band looks like shit because there's photographers.
Right.
So it's like this crowd photo is now the only photo of bands, and then the other photos like of members playing their instruments, that the way that they maybe look on stage is just overcrowded with people with Canon Rebels. It's not good.
So you were kind of dunking on this. I would like to suggest that a back print of the high contrast but of the photographers on stage could be a pretty sick shirt design, to be honest.
Well, not so a lot of people make the joke about us printing an anti-photographer shirt, which I would never do. I know that the Twitter is jokey, but I'm too far self-serious to
yeah, right. You've got Mark McCoy designing your shit. Like I don't think he's not making memes. I don't think, is he? No,
he's not. He did Photoshop Chloe Grace Moretz wearing the Cadaver Dog shirt though, which I thought was genius because I reposted, a bunch of people posted like clearly, but then everyone's like DMing me like, is this real? And it's like, no, it's clearly not. But that type of meme, yeah, he'll partake.
All right, we're gonna get him on the pod through you. I think that's what's gonna happen. But yeah, so it turned into like a whole thing. Everyone was talking shit, but then somebody actually got like so butthurt that they started an anti-Regional Justice Center pro photographer.
I'll give you the exclusive scoop on that one. That one's satire.
Okay.
someone, it's really funny the way that it came to me too, is that someone was like, my friend's one of my band members was like, my friend's roommate in Ohio runs the account. And I was like, who the fuck is that? And they're like, I think he plays in some band called Heart Attack Man. So it's Derek from Heart Attack Man, who I've only interacted with online a couple times, but I'm gonna out him here. This is the exclusive scoop on this one.
Okay, good. I couldn't. It's hard to tell. That's the kind of the beauty of it.
That was great. A lot of them were over the top. I actually thought my friend Casey, who does a podcast called Every Movie Is Good, he has done the fake Twitter thing in the past, and I thought it was him. I like texted him. I was like, dude, it's you. It's fucking you. I know it's you. And he was like, dude, it's not. And then after that, I was like, no one's going to cop to it. I'm not going to text anyone about it.
Right.
And, but no, there were some that were just, there was one that was really good where they said that musicians should play smaller amps so that there should be more room for photographers. The other one I really liked, I thought this one was genius, it was a picture of a stage plot. So it was stage plot with just like 20 photographer emojis like across and down and then band in the very middle.
That's so good. Do you ever because I assume you're just running it. I'm sure Triple B Records is not like, what the fuck have you done? But do you ever regret something you've tweeted because it's just blown up too much? Because I certainly have done that
all the time.
Every week,
but at that
basically.
At that point, you have to stick to it. So I just keep them. But yeah, it was actually funny because so this is the whole thing was kind of a bit that I had been doing for a while. And there's two routes. There's the general way where I just make a quippy joke, whatever. But then there's the other route where I would say something so unintelligibly rude that I was trying to get someone to engage me. So I tweeted, don't credit photographers 2019. And that I posted the one thing that caught on. It was the same day as the viral Sound and Fury post. I said, sometimes I get concerned about photographers trying to fight me, but then I remember they're all weird pervert cowards. And because it existed within the bit that it had been doing that I've been doing for a long time, but it blew up on its own out of context.
Oh shit.
And I was like, that just looks bad. That's not a good tweet. Because it's not funny.
Right.
For me, I think for me it's funny to post something so unintelligent that I think it's hilarious. I tweet a lot from the shower. Wow. And so I'll be literally I'm just kind of standing there and daydreaming a little bit, and then I'll think of something so rude and stupid that it's making me laugh that I have to say it. And so that was one of those things where I was just yeah, I regret that one.
Oh, that's so sick. Well, I like that you said that the tweets are a joke, but you kind of take your own art seriously. And so just maybe that kind of makes me think of the weird tension in Blink-182 between making dick jokes but also wanting to be somewhat, artists in a way. So I guess let's pivot into the topic at hand for a second. And what's your own experience with Blink-182? When were you? This is what I ask everyone lately. When did you get into them? When did you become too cool for them? And then are you with them again now or not?
So my first, I remember seeing the All the Small Things video when I was in second grade. And I remember that being kind of the first thing that got my interest in rock music, to where I didn't, at that age, you're not actively listening to anything. It's whatever your parents listen to. And I remember that was the first thing where I was like, this music video is funny, and the song got stuck in my head. And then I didn't really follow up with it. And then I was in third grade, and I was I saw the CD, the Enema of State, and I was I got my parents to get it for me, and then I was just obsessed. From there, I had this edited version of the CD, and I had no clue what half of the shit they were in there talking about. So it's still today I'll hear Blink-182 lyrics where I was like, whoa, that's crazy that's what they were saying. And I was listening to that in third grade.
Right.
I remember there's a line about she wasn't wearing underwear, and I didn't really even understand the context of something like that. But then from there, my first two concerts were Blink-182. I was in fourth grade, it was, I think, either September 9th or September 10th, 2001.
Oh my God.
And I saw them, I believe it was at the Sleep Train Amphitheater or something like that in San Francisco. It was somewhere in the Bay Area. I lived in the Bay Area until I was 13. And the lineup was Newfound Glory opening, then Sum 41, and then Blink-182.
Holy shit. That's
and
incredible.
I remember Blink-182, Sum 41 getting everyone to do the salute with the middle finger, and my mom let me do it, and I was in 4th grade.
Oh my God. Incredible.
And I remember I just remember all the crazy shit that happened of like them talking about fucking horses on stage. And just like it was not a place for a 4th grader, and we were like in the lawn and people are smoking weed, and my mom was just like, yeah, people are smoking weed, whatever. Like she was very open to the experience. Like whereas later that same school year, I went to see another Blink-182 show, which was Jimmy World, Green Day, Blink-182.
Pop Disaster Tour.
Yeah. And then later I got the DVD Riding in Vans with Boys, which was huge shaper of my desire to go on tour. That and Urethra Chronicles 2 was like, I was as obsessed as you could get.
Riding in Vans with Boys, we haven't really, like, we're planning on doing, we call our bonus episodes exclusives for Patreon. We're going to do like a full breakdown of that, but that documentary is unbelievable. It's basically Jackass, but with like Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's so little. It's so funny because it made you care. They gave such a vehicle to cut you up. A band that never did anything after.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of those guys like started working for ESPN or something later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to come across just without realizing it.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, I'm just like, that's the guy from Cut You Up. Like something that nobody else would really know unless they had this intense fandom.
Show me, do you have a pool cue branding on your ass? Or whatever.
Yeah. And I remember because like it's one of those things where there's so many inside jokes within it, and then you start saying as a little kid, like you watch it with your friends at a sleepover, and then all of a sudden you have all those inside jokes now.
Yeah, totally.
And they're just again shit you have no reference for. Like you're in 5th grade, you don't know what half the things they're talking about is. There's at one point where he holds up a bag of weed and he says there used to be a sandwich in there, and it was like. So many years went by before I knew what was happening there.
That's amazing. And so what about like when did you ever get too cool for Blink? You must have.
I'm trying to think. Well, because I kind of like stuck with them in Green Day for a really long time. Like I got into Slipknot around 6th grade, but I kept the Blink-182 fandom rolling. I don't know that I ever consciously like became too cool, because even before I went on my first tour, like we watched Riding in Vans with Boys before my first hardcore band went on tour, you know?
Oh, wow.
And with that, because we were just so excited, and it was like we were stuffing CDRs and we watched Riding in Vans with Boys, and we're from a small town, no reference for what tour is like besides this.
What was that band called?
It was a band called Bully, not to be confused with the successful band called Bully.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, certainly I wouldn't say that I like listen to it now. When I do, it's out of a morbid curiosity for whatever is currently happening.
Right. Well, that's something I did want to talk to you about. I was hoping that the album would have leaked by now, but it hasn't. But as a power violence man, you will have something to say about this, perhaps. But Matt Skiba has said that there are blast beats on the new Blink record.
He said that there's multiple blast beat, or like a blast beat?
Like maybe there's like a blast beat. I don't know. It's like something that he just like dropped and everyone's like, oh my God. I think they're just excited that he knows what blast beats are, maybe.
Well, I mean, Skiba has to be legit.
Yeah, of course.
Like Skiba, like that. I mean, Alkaline Trio like was a small band releasing on Asian Man Records. Like they think they had to have been in the thick of something cool, and especially being from Alkaline Trio's from Southern California, right?
No, they're from Chicago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not at all. Well, then maybe they're not as aware of cool things. I would imagine that Blink has to be at least had to have been aware of like Crossed Out at some point.
Perhaps. But I mean, like as a drummer, first of all, in general, how do you feel about Travis Barker? And second, like just what do you think it could even conceivably sound like for them to put blast beats on a brand new Blink-182 song?
So I watched a video of one of his drum solos the other day, or someone posted like an excerpt, and he was just straight blasting in the drum solo. And so I kind of had, and then you had mentioned it. I have no idea how there could be a use for it in their music. It's not a versatile rhythm. It's not good when not abrasive. So I don't know. It has to be like they've heard of like Trash Talk or something, and then they're incorporating like one of the comic short songs that they always do, you know?
Yeah, it could be. Well, okay.
That's my assumption.
I'm going to play a clip of something. So as a drummer of your stature, what do you think of this video, and what do you think of this all the blast things, I believe it's called?
All the blast things is abhorrent. It's so there's so many things that it's perfectly of its YouTube generation, right, of being completely not tasteful, pointless, and just like all around bad. The thing that it just, I can't believe, which is such a YouTube thing, is that he's not wearing shoes. So he just has a close up of his bare feet playing double pedal going the entire time. And it's like, I just don't understand why anyone wants to broadcast their bare feet. I'll keep mine covered up for as long as humanly possible, personally. So
you're not down with show feet, sweetie? Yeah, that's not your vibe.
I do not believe men shouldn't have feet. Honestly, that's how I feel.
To me, the video, and look, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but the video to me sounds exactly like Deaf Heaven.
I turned on Deaf Heaven once, and my girlfriend was in the car, and she was like, "I hate this," and so I just turned it off. I have never gone back since. I guess I could see that. I remember someone saying something. There was like a Beatles influence or something, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to it because maybe like black metal Beatles sounds cool to me." And then I never got far enough.
I like straight up do like it, but when I first listened to the first Death Wish one, like I literally could hear some Tom DeLonge guitar tone in there, so I think that's probably why I liked it.
The other thing that I was thinking about is edit this because I just totally lost it.
Okay.
I was on my way to it and then it was gone.
Shit. Yeah, so you don't fuck with all the blast things.
I do not fuck with all the blast things. It's so tasteless.
Uploaded by Simon Skrulak is the name.
I'm sure he's going to be bummed that he's been credited now that he's been shit on. But I think that this is actually exactly the type of drummer that Travis Barker breeds, right, of someone who is so just distasteful. Like,
yeah, because it's like peacocking. Like even Travis Barker, we said this all in the pod a bunch of times, but sometimes it sounds like he's loading a dishwasher in the background of a song. Like it's just like it's like Dave Matthews Band type drumming.
It straight up makes no sense for the music half the time. He just can't play a simple rhythm, yeah. And it's just crazy. Like I'm so happy that I didn't actually start playing drums when I was into Blink-182, because I would be so fucked up. Like I would be like so into stick flips, and like at one point in all the blastings, the guy is like doing this really weird simple sticky, like what is just a normal beat, right? Just he's like, yeah. It's like whatever, quarter notes on the hi-hat and just like snare. And he's just swapping hands every other hit and like occasionally doing stick twirls and stuff. Like when I was a little kid, yeah, sure, I thought that was cool, but
I also
when you're an adult, I don't understand it. Like,
right. Well, first of all, the other thing about this video that I didn't reveal to you, but he's also uploaded just the pure drum track for some reason. So if you had any use for just only the drum track,
I'm gonna write my own song on top. I'm gonna write an RJC song to all the blasting.
Please do. But then the other thing is, like, I understand functionally, but I fucking hate those apartment electric drums.
The sounds he picked were so bad too. Like when he goes up and does that, it's just like the worst drum sounds possible. Like, I wonder what kit he actually plays on. I'm sure he plays on it at some point on his YouTube barefoot.
Right.
No doubt.
I'm hoping you'll dig deeper into Simon Skrillex, because I think that maybe you can one day find common ground, or maybe he'll cover an RJC song.
I just hope he's barefoot.
Right. So the song I did pick this week, because the blast beat one didn't leak, was just, I picked this one alone, which I believe is from the Fly Swatter demo, because it just sounds like every teen's first punk/hardcore song.
Definitely.
So, like, what's your feel? How do you feel?
So the intro it was very funny to me, because I felt it was like one note off from a Born Against intro.
Right.
Like, it's like, this could be a Born Against song if it just had a little bit more crunch and there was just one more minor chord progression. Right. It would be perfectly at home. But then as they went farther into the song, I thought it was really interesting, because they clearly mined that song for parts in the future.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot actually. But what did you notice in here?
I think it was specifically the inflection on the word alone. Like, it was like the chorus part. I just was like, I can't place which Blink-182 song off of either Cheshire Cat or Buddha or Dude Ranch it is, but like that is in another Blink-182 song.
Right. Yeah. What was your like first song that you ever wrote?
The first song I ever wrote?
Yeah, like, did you write a song like this?
No doubt I did. I can't recall it. I didn't. I'm trying to think. So I was in a band. Like, my first band was we played on my middle school's talent show in 6th grade, and we did an instrumental version of Half of Longview by Green Day.
Sick.
And I was just doing. I was playing bass, and I was just pogoing so much the whole time, and had a mohawk. I wish there was pictures, and I'm also glad there wasn't.
Yeah.
On the way to the talent show, I was skateboarding there, and my skateboard fell down a sewer. So I was like crying immediately before, because it was like a Pennywise-esque sewer situation. And my skateboard I like lost it, and it just went down. And I was like, all right, I ended up getting it out like the next day, but I was like so bummed. And then we had our own instrumental, like, Casualties-esque punk song, because that was like 6th grade was also where that kind of started bleeding in for me. I had like one like friend who loved Dead Kennedys and the Addicts and the Casualties.
Right.
But no lyrics.
Okay.
No lyrics. I think we jokingly called ourselves the Nonconformists. I had no clue what it meant. My friend, the street punk member, he named it.
I mean, I think 6th grade trying to write the Casualties, it probably did sound exactly like this song.
It definitely wasn't good. I know how to play it today. I should re-record it.
Yeah, you should. That's funny, because my first ever performance too was in grade 7. I say grade first because I'm Canadian. It's a bizarre little difference. But
I watched Degrassi, so I'm aware.
Oh yeah, you know what's up. But we covered Brain Stew in our grade 7 assembly, but it wasn't even a talent show. I think my dad was like, "Oh, they've been practicing. They're going to play this in front of the school." It's crazy. Cool. Yeah, but it is weird how Green Day is actually more influential than Blink, but culturally we're all more obsessed with Blink right now, I think. Yeah, I mean, well, because Green Day's just been going. The breakup, the reformation, the member swap is like noteworthy, where Green Day's just been trudging along the whole time. Right. People must constantly ask you annoying questions like, what's the deal with singing and drumming at the same time? So I'm going to ask you, what's the deal with singing and drumming at the same time? I simply don't care to try to figure out a stage presence. I don't want to. I'm good at drums, so I just figure if that's not entertaining for you, then I'm not going to make the music that's
that's good for you. That's just not going to be what you're going to like. Like, I try to make the set as much of a physical feat as possible. Like when we finish playing, I'm actually about to throw up every time. Right. And so it's just like if watching me go to my breaking point isn't interesting, then like that's cool. This is literally me feeling like I'm trying to survive.
Right. That's awesome.
My first like band that I played drums for, I got a drum set when I was in 9th grade, and it was 2 drum and sing in a power violence band. So it was literally like, this is just the way I learned to play drums. So I have a more of a natural feel with it. And also like being from Seattle and coming up under the era of Iron Lung, like it wasn't acknowledged as weird to me. Like I just was like, that, yeah, drumming and singing, it makes sense.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I guess Iron Lung is the missing key, because I was gonna say, I have noticed, even in looking back at like some of the Instagrams I follow where it is like old 1996 hardcore photographers uploading shit now or whatever, that it does seem like in some bizarre way, maybe pre-Iron Lung, power violence did have something in common with pop punk in terms of just being like kind of goofy and silly.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. I mean, the main label in power violence that, or like one of the most influential, the most collectible for sure, is a record label called Slap-A-Ham,
right?
Which was ran by this guy Chris Dodge, who was in Spaz and later other bands. But it's so interesting because I talked about this with one of my friends recently, of like the very beginning, like Neanderthal, Man is the Bastard, like it was like muscular music, crossed out as like muscular music, and crossed out released on Slap-A-Ham. But there's this like brutal war imagery, but then on the back it says Slap-A-Ham. So it's this weird disconnect, which I think it also maybe ties in with the way that I view the current way of doing the band, is like the music is serious, but like if we were serious all the time, it would be fucking boring. And so like that's where things like other aspects of the band, like the Twitter, come in to me,
right?
Where it's just like, it doesn't have to be doom and gloom all the time. Like we're the prison band, but it doesn't have to be like, I'm not gonna, if I only ranted about like, oh, what my brother's going through, it wouldn't be interesting. It wouldn't keep people's attention. You got to provide an actual personality, and that's what I think this whole genre and pop punk has been good with, is providing personality on top of music.
Yeah, like, because if you look at an old photo of Spaz and you don't know what their music sounds like, you would think that they're like playing Weezer Worship or something.
I think one of those dudes played in Gob at one point too. Like, because the whole East Bay like epitaph punk scene like interlapped at one point.
Well, the other confusing thing to me about that is, was there not an actual either a power violence or grindcore band called Gob that was different than the Vancouver Gob?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe that's the case, because I always thought, because
when I was a kid and I got my friend to download a whole bunch of shit off of Audio Galaxy and burn it for me that I had like underlined in Heart Attack or something. He downloaded a Gob that I thought sounded like shit because I wanted the pop punk one, but I think there was a power violence Gob too. Oh wow. Okay, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but either way, there was an overlap with that. Yeah, for sure. That era of pop punk. Yeah, it's very bizarre. So, what is the whole prison thing for people who like are not caught up with everything that's going on with RJC? So the impetus for the band is that it is somewhat of a collaboration with my little brother, who is currently serving 72 months for 6 years, and Regional Justice Center was the county jail where he spent a year and a half awaiting sentencing. And so on our LP, he contributes some things by talking between songs and kind of talking about his experience leading up until he got arrested. And then on the follow-up record, he wrote some lyrics. On the current one that we just released, we weren't able to, we were under the gun for delivery, so we didn't end up getting the element. We were going more aspirational for what we were doing with him, which was contributing an actual song that he is vocally a part of. Okay. But we didn't make it work. But basically the band is a collaboration with my brother, and it bleeds in to the live show, every aspect, the live show, the records, and eventually, I when he's released, I want him to
contribute to the live performance.
That rules. Yeah, well, man, I fucking love RJC. It's so good. And I love, the combination of humor and like actual seriousness is so good because it also makes the seriousness not seem performative. It like seems more sincere that way.
Well, that's the thing is what I'm doing in every moment is how I sincerely think and feel. And when I'm in as self-serious as this is, when I'm in the space, the headspace of performing, it's a completely different thing than the rest of it. Because the rest of it is operating through excitement and like a little bit of joy in the creation. But the aspect of performing is like a different thing because it's physically taxing and it's like a completely different element, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, every moment is we're not having to try to do this. This is who we are.
Yeah, for sure. That rules. Is there anything else you want to say about Blink-182? Real pendulum swing on this podcast.
I'm trying to think of so the last time we listened to Dude Ranch on one of our last tours, and I just was thinking about how much I loved the jokey element of the music when I was young, and some of the things they say on there are so heinous. like talking about like peeping on a woman and like the use of the it's funny how pleasant the melody "She's so important, I'm so retarded" is.
I know. It's
like I've
burned
never
into your brain.
That and just like I don't know. I guess it all is just I could probably like talk along with the stage banter on Mark, Tom, and Travis show still.
Yeah.
It's just all there. Oh, I guess so. The one thing, this is something that I've noted to people about when I mentioned the date of the Blink-182 performance I saw first was I saw this either 1 or 2 days before 9/11.
Right.
And so I remember when I was watching the towers on television, fundamentally not understanding what was happening at all.
Right.
I was like, oh, a building's on fire. I'm going to go to Nick. I was wearing my take off your pants and jacket t-shirt. Like it just was it was a navy blue t-shirt and it just said, and I'm in 4th grade. And it just said in bright yellow print, take off your pants and jacket. And I remember a kid tried to get me in trouble for it.
Do you think your mom got the joke when she got you the shirt?
No, because she asked me about it afterwards when the school called later. Because this kid tried to get me in trouble and ended up having to fight him because I was like, I can't believe you ratted on my t-shirt. And I was in 4th grade. I didn't even realize the joke.
Right.
He realized the joke because he was smarter than me and told a teacher. And I was like, that's not even what it means. And I had to fight him, like in 4th grade. And it's burned into my memory that just how funny it is that I was just a 4th grader wearing a shirt that said "Take off your pants and jacket," watching the Twin Towers burn.
It's very fucked how tied Blink-182 is to 9/11, like to the point where we've talked about it in almost every single episode of this podcast.
Is it different when you talk to Canadians? How important is 9/11 for Canadians?
Oh, it's still, everything, all American culture is like all we care about. We don't even people in Canada are like tweeting about like Trump all the time and shit and not paying attention to all the horrible things happening in Canada. So it's almost exactly the same. But even including the obsession with Blink-182 and the disrespect for Gob and Simple Plan and Sum 41. Sick. Okay, so finally, I know there's you seem to be doing so much shit, so tell us about everything we got to check out.
So Regional Justice Center just released a new record on Triple B Records. It's called Institution. It is only 5 songs. It's like an EP. I thought I was writing an LP, and then Triple B hit me up, and I was like, I think I have the singles for the LP already written. And then he hit me up, and I was like, well, maybe we could maybe we could just take all those songs and make them an EP. So I think it's kind of it's what I thought was going to be the singles for an LP, and instead is just all of them on an EP.
So I think that there's no filler.
No filler at all, in my opinion. Maybe someone could disagree, but it's 5.5 minutes. It takes no time to listen to. So that is the first thing. We're about to do a full U.S. tour No Canada, unfortunately. But so yeah, I guess check somewhere for the dates, because we'll be all around the United States, basically besides the West Coast. And then I just started a podcast with my friend Patrick Kinlan from the band Self-Defense Family and Drug Church. He's a comic book writer, and basically we're using the podcast space to talk about life and art and like career and aspiration. So like I'm a filmmaker. I'm trying to make my way towards movies, and I'm currently stuck in the hell that is music videos. And so we're talking through all of that. You know, we're talking about what our next steps is, what we're doing, where we're failing. We're just trying to like unpack everything, as well as general cultural shit talk.
Right. And what's it called?
It's called I Don't Care If This Ruins My Life, which harkens back to what I was saying about unintelligent things. Because we basically, in thinking about the idea of talking about your career earnestly and honestly, is like people frown upon that. Like
it's true. Yeah, you can't admit that you wanted to achieve something. You have to pretend it happened by accident.
And you can't talk about your downfalls, and you can't talk about, it's just like there's supposed to be this veil of secrecy around careers and creativities until just suddenly you've succeeded. And so with my friend Patrick, like when he used to do a podcast called Self-Obsessed, it was literally just about him talking about his career. And that was when he was much smaller, doing independent comic books. And now he's just landed comic books at one of the big two, and also the third largest comics publisher. And so like there's literally like a big path in between, and we're just want to talk about those things because nobody does. And people are out here just like being like, how do I succeed? And we're not talking about like in that way, but we're just like, here's what we're doing in real time.
So it's basically like The Secret. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We're gonna like it's step 1, start podcast, and then step 4, show profits. Yeah. So you learn steps 2 and 3 through the podcast. So you have to listen. Exactly. That's once the Patreon's launched, that's when we do steps 2 and 3.
That's sick. Sam, I feel like there's been a lot of like, we keep talking about exclusives that we plan to do, and there's some that we really do sincerely have to do, and they're going to be a lot of work, but they're going to be ever so rewarding. And one of them is that you are going to listen to Free Punk Lyrics in its entirety for the first time. And so for those of you who don't know what Free Punk Lyrics is, if we haven't beaten it to death enough, it's basically a joke project that I started with my friend like 8 years ago, where we posted lyrics online that we had written in 4 minutes or less. They're very real. Yeah, but they're lyrics for punk songs that we had written in 4 minutes or less. And they're sort of, the idea was that anyone could use them for a punk band for free. And then many years later, when I mentioned it in passing on the pod, everyone started doing it, to the point where we've released recently a 39-song compilation called Free Punk Lyrics. And among that incredible treasure trove of music is a brand new band called Pink Theory, spelled all caps. It's 2 members of the Nation that we love and cherish. It's Sarah, and it's Doom Quest or Doom Q West or whatever. I've never said his username out loud. But
maybe you should have asked before. I
did this plug, exactly. But the 2 of them have formed this project called Pink Theory, and their version of Red Pill Blue Pill was one of everyone's like standout tracks from the Free Punk Lyrics compilation.
I feel like everyone tweeted about that for sure.
Yeah, and so now this week, not only is it the Free Punk Lyrics song exists, but they've sent me their very first actual song that's not Free Punk Lyrics related. So we're going to actually, this is the first for the pod, we're going to premiere a new single on the pod.
Okay, that's sick.
Yeah, so this is called Chihuahua, and it's from Pink Theory.